Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Jurgen Klopp belittles Jose Mourinho. Phil Neville defends a courageous and brave Jose Mourinho, and Pep hints that maybe Mourinho is losing the players. Lots to talk about, plus we'll be taking your questions because it is Saturday Night Live Q&A. But first of all, I want to just start off with, we've got a massive game against Burnley tomorrow. I have seen on social media some United fans saying, go on Burnley, beat us so we can get rid of Mourinho. Wrong on two levels. Totally and utterly wrong on two levels. Mainly, whatever you think, Manchester United will not sack Jose Mourinho if we lose to Burnley tomorrow. They won't. They're not going to do it. As ridiculous as it sounds, if we lose 3 of our first 4 games, they won't sack Mourinho tomorrow. That's not on the agenda. So as ridiculous as you may think that is, that's got to be a reason why we've got to win tomorrow. None more so than that we're Manchester United fans and we need to win. But for me, the big thing is, yeah, I don't believe Mourinho would be sacked tomorrow, and I don't ever think that realistically we should be thinking about that. But what I do think is that with regards to the match, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at something else. With regards to the match tomorrow, if we were to lose that game, regardless whether Mourinho goes or not, we would be 9 points behind Chelsea and Liverpool. We would be 7 points behind Manchester City, potentially 9 points behind Spurs as well. That is a huge gap. That is an absolutely magnificently wide gap. That's the Grand Canyon, and that after 4 games is ridiculous. So, and then we come back from an international break and we have West Ham, Watford away and Wolves at home. Tough games. So, no, we've got to win tomorrow, 100%. I know that people don't want Mourinho, but as I've said to you before, my theory is Manchester United will not get rid of Jose Mourinho until it is absolutely impossible for us to get top 4. And it's not going to be impossible even if we are 9 points behind tomorrow night. We'll be furious, of course we will, but I don't think now is the time to even be thinking that Mourinho is going to get the sack anytime soon. I think best case scenario is United scramble for 4th, and then Mourinho goes next summer. I think they won't sack him until 4th isn't possible. So we've got to win tomorrow. I believe we will win tomorrow. But the headline of the show is Klopp belittling Mourinho. And this is a legacy of his press conference yesterday. So we spoke a lot about it. I don't even know if I mentioned this, but he did mention Klopp. He was mentioned about what a great manager he is, and Klopp was mentioned, and he said, yeah, that's, you know, Klopp doesn't go on about him being a great manager, and Mourinho said something along the lines of, yeah, that's because he hasn't won anything internationally. So Klopp was asked about that today in the post-match conference after the Leicester game, and he said, and all Klopp said is, well, yeah, I haven't won anything internationally, but I don't watch Jose Mourinho press conferences either. Do I need to do that? Now, on a basic level, that doesn't mean anything, but actually I think it was an absolute belittlement of Jose Mourinho, because it was like, I don't listen. Yeah, what do I need to watch Jose Mourinho? I don't watch Jose Mourinho press conferences. Do I need to? Actually translates to is, I've got 12 points, you've got 3. I've got a team that plays good football, you haven't. My team and fan base is behind me, yours isn't, and I don't care what you say. When he says, I don't watch Jose Mourinho press conferences, he's basically saying, up yours, Mourinho. I'm not falling into your games. You're irrelevant. And I can read that as a Manchester United fan. A lot of Manchester United fans can read it. Liverpool fans are rejoicing at it because he hasn't reacted maybe like Benitez did to Ferguson. He's come out with what seems a very simplistic reply, but it absolutely sits Mourinho down, because Mourinho wants a reaction. Of course he does. But as I said yesterday, Mourinho talking about what he's won in the past. He's won nothing with Manchester United that's any better than what Klopp's done at Liverpool, really. Well, he has, Europa League and a Carabao Cup. But in relation to Premier League titles, which is Mourinho's big selling point, he hasn't won those at Manchester United. But it's all in the past. Quit living in the past, live in the now. And I think Klopp's just sort of, in a very, very simple way, without being antagonistic or argumentative, Mourinho probably will be sat at home now in his Lowry hotel thinking, oh God, what am I doing tonight now? I haven't wound Klopp up, because he's just gone. And what, to be honest with you, what would you do if you've just won your 4th game of the season, you've grinded out 2 decent results at Leicester and Crystal Palace, you're on a high, you've got a team that's playing the way you want, you've got all the fans behind you, and then somebody says, you know, your big rival that's really struggling, you know what he said in his press conference yesterday? He was mocking you about your previous history around titles. I mean, there is that temptation to go, who is he? Uncle Albert from Only Fools and Horses. We're living in the now. I'm absolutely smashing him and I haven't even played him yet. So I think Mourinho there has left himself wide open, and Klopp has shut him down. So that's what's happened with that. On the other hand, Phil Neville has come out and said that, and I must read you this quote actually. So I don't want to get this wrong, because I don't like misquoting people when they say things. But basically, what he said, he's called him courageous, and basically what Phil Neville said: all the focus is on Jose Mourinho now because he is taking the battering at the moment. That is a sign of a courageous manager that doesn't throw his players under a bus and is protecting them. There are players in that Manchester United dressing room that probably know that they can be playing better, but he's not criticising them publicly at the moment. He's actually taking the hits for them. As a young manager, that's something I'm looking at and thinking, that's something I would like to do for my players. He will not be happy with what he's seen in the first 3 games, but he's the right man for the job because of his proven track record. So when I look at that from Phil Neville, I think, well, again, you're living in the past, Phil. You know, you're talking about his track record. His track record at Manchester United is poor football and no title challenge in 2 years. And this year he's not going to do a title challenge either. So again, we're living in the past. And he talks about a courageous manager that doesn't throw his players under the bus and protecting them. I thought he was talking about someone else, to be honest. And I'm a big Mourinho fan. I was like, what? Courageous? Doesn't throw his players under the bus? He drives the bus all over his players normally. He's only not doing it because he's had so much criticism. He even admitted that himself last week. He said, I'm not going to say what I want to say about my players because I get criticised for it. So it's not even a conscious decision. But last season, he was forever throwing his players under the bus. So I don't know where this courageous and protecting his players has come from. I actually think Phil Neville maybe has had a bit of a brain wipe there, or maybe he's just looking at it in the context of this season, to be fair. But I don't think Mourinho's courageous, and I certainly don't think that he's protecting his players. I think Mourinho's just eager to get the Jose Mourinho autobiography out and start quoting what he's done. That's what he's doing. I don't think he's protecting his players at all. I think Mourinho, there's a confusion there. I think the people who confuse that Mourinho is protecting his players, he's not protecting his players because the press aren't really talking about his players. The press are going in on him. Every question is about Mourinho. Mourinho doesn't set the questions. Every question yesterday was about Mourinho, and Mourinho answered it with his CV. There was nothing about the players, so I don't think Mourinho is protecting his players at all. I think he's protecting himself. He's protecting himself because he doesn't want to speak negatively about the players, because we all know there is an issue behind closed doors. And United are desperately trying to say, and even parts of the press are desperately trying to say, the attitude's great. If you look at Manchester United Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, again today, it's full of pictures of players smiling. I totally agree with what they're trying to do, but don't try and kid me or any other United fan who's thinking the same way as me that everything's rosy in the garden. That set of players don't put in performances against Brighton and Spurs like they did in the second half if everything's rosy in the garden. We don't have Ander Herrera playing as a right-sided centre-back if everything's rosy in the garden. You don't drop Pereira, Martial, Mata and Bailly completely from the matchday squad if everything's rosy in the garden. Paul Pogba, World Cup winner, doesn't put performances in like the embarrassment he has been in the last 2 games if everything's rosy in the garden. Of course, that garden can be rosy again, but at the moment, we're struggling. And tomorrow's got to be the first step to positivity. Pep Guardiola's jumped on it. Phil Neville is drunk, says Bayer 2-0. Look, Phil Neville speaks a lot of sense, but I think he's speaking... I think he's what he's trying to do, quite rightly, as a Manchester United player and fan. He's trying to spin the media around. He's trying to defend Jose a bit. I've seen a lot of that today. Jose Mourinho was at the under-23 games last night. He spent 10 minutes, I think, in the disabled section, you know, talking to fans and stuff like that. You know, you can't. We're talking about football here. I mean, I've seen people tweeting it out and saying, forget about the football, what a great man he is. And some people have jumped on it and go, sod off. Why should I sympathise with a man who's not who isn't a Manchester United manager? I disagree with that. Jose Mourinho, as I've always said, he's not a bad man. He's a good man, and he is on paper still one of the best managers in the world, on paper. But he's not a bad man. He isn't a bad man. He's a bad manager at the moment. And how long that's going to last, hopefully he can spin it around. Pep Guardiola piped up about it, appeared to be quite defensive of Mourinho, to be fair. But what he did say is that you're a good manager when your players play for you, and you're a bad manager when your players don't. And my interpretation with that was Pep was saying that he's a everything's not rosy in that dressing room, which Pep Guardiola knows full well, because Pep Guardiola said before the Manchester derby, I was offered Paul Pogba in January. And if you are a manager of a rival club and your biggest rival offers you, or your biggest rival's best player is asking, do you want to sign me through his agent, then you know that everything's not rosy in the garden. So Mourinho's under fire. I think he needs to keep his mouth shut about rivals who are steamrolling ahead of us at the moment, and needs to focus on what's important, and that is Manchester United and 3 points tomorrow, which I do think we're going to get. And I think the players have got to perform tomorrow, whatever they think about Jose, and maybe it's justified. The reality is, we as a fan base are going to be massively embarrassed again if we draw or lose that game. We've got to win tomorrow. There's not a bone in my body that thinks, oh, it would be nice to lose tomorrow because we might get rid of Mourinho. That's not going to happen. Or it might be nice to lose tomorrow because we'll get rid of Mourinho quicker. I don't think like that. We are fast becoming a joke. And 6 points behind our biggest rivals in the international break will make it a long international break. 9 points behind everybody going international break will make it unbearable. It cannot happen. We've got to do far, far, far better than that. Anyway, I've had my say. You can have your say. Get involved in the live comments. Give me some questions. Please do drop a like on the video. Let's see if we can get over 500 while we're watching. The squad is as bad as Mourinho's attitude, says Hildelin. How could Klopp mock us, says Dia Almasala? Well, it's a very simple thing, isn't it? If you're Jurgen Klopp, you're sat at the top of the league at the moment with 1 goal conceded in 4. You know, playing great football. Well, you know, your philosophy is a good football. You're absolutely buzzing going into the international break. United season's in tatters. Whatever happens tomorrow, our season is in tatters. And we're not going to be able to fix it for a few weeks, you know, because we are going to be playing catch-up for a long, long time. Until we start beating teams week in, week out, we're struggling. So Mourinho, you know, Klopp didn't even really need to say anything. I mean, I must admit, when Mourinho made the comment about Klopp yesterday, I was like, I saw people doing it for retweets. Oh, Mourinho has sat Klopp down, saying he's never won anything internationally. And not for 1 second did my finger go near the retweet button. I felt like hacking their account and going on the delete button, because I thought, this is as bad as Liverpool fans who we've mocked for years going 5 times. We are becoming that. We are taking trophies because our manager makes a comment that's negative about a rival manager. What happened in the past with Klopp, what happens in the past with Mourinho is irrelevant. Liverpool fans won't be bothered about it, and I'm certainly not bothered about it as a Manchester United fan. Mourinho's won us a Europa League and a Carabao Cup. It's not good enough. Liverpool are top of the league. They were in the Champions League final last year. They were 90 minutes away from being European champions, and they are blitzing the Premier League at the moment. What position would you rather be in? I don't want to be Liverpool. I don't want Klopp, but I would swap positions and have United in the position they've been in, losing in the final with momentum over the summer, with a very good transfer window, and then a flawless start to the season. That's what Liverpool have done. Champions League finalists, brilliant summer to deal with the issues that they've got, and a perfect start. I would love that at Manchester United, as opposed to crap summer, crap end to the season, and crap start to the season. I mean, that's the truth. But our manager in a press conference decides to poke Liverpool's manager. You're like, what are you doing? Keep your mouth shut. Fair play to Klopp for not going in on him, because it's embarrassing taking a pop at that manager. Because all Mourinho can beat him on is stuff he didn't do at United anyway. He just needs to focus on United, for God's sake, and stop playing these silly games, because there's no point in it. We need to sort our own house before we start playing mind games. Read a great quote on Jose's 3-year season cycle. Season 1, buy an expensive bus. Season 2, park the bus. Season 3, throw his players under that bus, says Abhijit. Well, we'll see. Josie makes comments you would see in a comment section of YouTube videos, says Joe Barnes. What would be our back 4 tomorrow, or back 3, says Pawan? I think we will play the 3-5-2 tomorrow. I'm comfortable with the 3-5-2 tomorrow. I don't know what you lot think. I've done my prediction. I think if I just quickly flip there, it should still be up. Yeah, it is. So that's my predicted team for tomorrow. Herrera, Bailly, Smalling, Shaw, Matic, Valencia, Pogba, Fred, Sanchez, Lukaku. So Herrera, Bailly, Smalling is the way I think he will go. I don't see the point in starting Herrera at a right-sided centre-back against Spurs and then not doing it again. Phil Jones is out. Would you trust Lindelof at the moment? I'm a big fan of Victor Lindelof, but he is on the floor. He's got no confidence at all. Even in that cameo at the end of the Spurs game, he nearly gifted 2 goals away. So I think it'll be Herrera, Bailly and Smalling. And actually, I think when we're playing a 4-4-2, our best centre-back pairing is Bailly and Smalling. I do think that. The only reason that Jose was at the under-23 game was to watch the lot, says Ryan Manicum. He's got a lot of time on his hands. I've heard that he's watched every box set on Netflix. He's living in a hotel in the Lowry. His family's down there. He's visited every restaurant in Manchester. He's bored of Coronation Street. Of course he's getting out. He was down at the Burnley game on Thursday. Of course he's going to get out. Lukaku needs to fix up, says Panache. Look, whatever anybody says about Romelu Lukaku, he will start hitting the back of the net soon. Whether it's West Brom, Everton, United, he scores over 20 goals a season, and he will do that. He has been disappointing in the last 2 games, as has Paul Pogba, but Lukaku will start hitting the ball in the back of the net. He will do. We'll park the bus tomorrow, says Tommy. That, in a way, is a very simplistic statement, but also in another way, I think it's a very, very good comment, because that is something we'll know very soon in the game tomorrow. I think it's really important that we win tomorrow. I would take 1-0 parking the bus tomorrow, because I think 3 points is what matters. We've got a 2-week international break. We need to, this first 4 games has been disastrous for us. Whatever happens tomorrow, 6 points from 12 if we win is crap. So we've got to win tomorrow. But I also think we saw against Spurs a really, really good style of football. It's really important that we see that tomorrow. I think we will see that. I'll be very surprised if we go back to being pragmatic, boring Manchester United. I think we will see United pressing. But having said that, we are away from home and Burnley are very energetic. So I'm very interested to see how we approach that. Get big money for Pogba and rebuild with it, says Hilda. And well, we're not selling Pogba anymore. As I said last night, 80% chance Paul Pogba's leaving Manchester United. He's still here. It was never going to happen. He will be here for the season. Mark, Pogba could leave in January, says Pancage. I doubt it. I don't think those sort of deals get done in January, to be honest. Burnley will park the bus, says Ben Johnson. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what Burnley do as well. I went a bit high-pitched there. I don't know. I think Burnley have got 1 point. They're in the bottom. They're second bottom, I think. They won't want to be there after 4 games. I think Burnley, if you'd offered them a point tomorrow, they would take it. But I don't think they'll park the bus. I don't think you need to park the bus against Manchester United, and I don't think they will. I think we'll win tomorrow. I'm going to stay positive. I think we will win. I'll laugh if we don't beats crying, says Scott Boswell. Okay. I'll laugh if we don't win. It beats crying, says Scott Boswell. Look, I don't want to think about what'll happen if we lose tomorrow. I can't think about it. I imagine, knowing me, my initial reaction is frustration. Whether it would be shock. I don't think anyone would be shocked if we lose tomorrow, to be honest. I would admit that. I don't think we'd be shocked. I was shocked after Brighton. I was disgusted after Spurs. I wouldn't be shocked against Burnley. They're a decent team. But we've got to get at them. They conceded 3 goals in the first half an hour against Fulham. So we've got to get at them. 4-5-1 tomorrow we should play, says Aldo Davison. Mourinho will take a draw tomorrow. He'll play not to lose. I hope not. I think a draw tomorrow is like a loss. We need 3 points. 6 points from 12, like I say, won't be good enough anyway. So we need 3 points tomorrow. Mark will jump off the stadium if we lose, says Flaming Glitcher. I won't. And I hope we lose tomorrow and start performing after Mourinho is gone, says Julius. Oh yeah. As I said at the start of the video, mate, Julius, if we lose tomorrow, Mourinho won't be sacked anyway. He should be, but he won't. DJ Walker, are you going live at 10, Mark? No. When do I ever go live at 10? Why would I go live at 10? What's happening at 10? Hate the international breaks. Absolutely agree with you, Grey Eagle. I absolutely hate international breaks. I enjoyed the World Cup, but I hate international breaks. International football should be in the summer. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Would you take Zidane? I would have, but I heard he can't speak English, says Fred the Red. Oh, that's an interesting thing. If we lose, he should be sacked first thing Monday morning, says David Noonan. Well, I wouldn't disagree with that, but I don't think we'll lose, and I know Manchester United won't sack him. Admit it, Mark. I said when Jose was boss, he won't win a Premier League title, as his tactics are past it. Andrew Ellis, I'm pretty much guaranteed that you did say that, because you have been, as I've always said, Mourinho out, even when everyone was Mourinho in, Andrew Ellis never wanted him. And I know a lot of us don't agree with him, and probably a lot of people do, but do now. But he has always, to be fair, been against him. What do I make of the performances of Romelu Lukaku? I think he'll come good. I think he'll good. He'll come good. Craigie Boy 372 says, I've got to hope that City keep winning now so Liverpool don't win the league. I tell you what, drawing against Wolves, only beating Newcastle 2-1. If I was a Liverpool fan at the moment, I know it's always their year, but they've got a lot to be optimistic about. I think Chelsea will drop points from what I've seen. Spurs always drop points. City are the team that really should be pushing Liverpool. I suppose from City's point of view, though, they're only 2 points behind them. And I think De Bruyne is a big loss for City. But yeah, I would rather City win the title than Liverpool every day of the week. So we aren't going to do it. So I don't want to say I hope City do it because that just sounds wrong. But I can't be dealing with Liverpool winning it. I'm sorry. And I know we got Liverpool fans watching, but you'd say the same about us. You know you would. Liverpool won't win anything with that clown in charge, says Pogba UFC 6. And Lukaku looks overweight, says DC. Well, that might, fitness might be a problem for Lukaku. He did come late. He did come later. It was good that Wolves stopped City, says Positive. Oh yeah, Wolves are a good team. Wolves are a good team. I've been saying this about Wolves since about Christmas. I said Wolves will finish in the top 8, and everyone keeps laughing at me, but they will. The first couple of games they were a bit, you know what? But well, no, the first game actually wasn't it because it's only game 3 now. But let's game 4. So yeah, I was right. The first 2 games. Man City did them the world of good. They deserved a point. They've gone to West Ham. They've got a last-minute winner today. I don't know who they play before us, but they've got us in 2 games' time. I think that game against Wolves is going to be very, very difficult for United. I'm not saying we're not going to win, but I think it's going to be a really good test because they're a good team. Tommy Greenham LP, thanks for the contribution. Chelsea will win the title, says Carl Thompson. Why do Liverpool are overrated, says Don Snaps. Well, at the moment, we can all mock Liverpool. Of course we can. We all enjoy it. But they are a team that is, if they get lucky with injuries, because 8187 Hendricks just said there, Salah got injured. If they get unlucky with injuries, then that will obviously unsteady their ship. But at the moment, you can't. Look, I'm particularly unhappy with Mourinho and United at the moment. I can be turned around, of course, everybody can, but I'm not happy with United at the moment, and they've got to rebuild that trust. I support Manchester United, we all do, but at the moment I'm not very happy with what my club's doing from top to bottom. What Liverpool are doing at the moment, as much as I dislike them, they are doing very, very well. And at this moment in time, they are where they deserve to be, and we are where we deserve to be. But in a month's time, at the next international break, by Christmas, hopefully we will start to erode the gap between us, and it won't grow. That's the thing that Manchester United need to do. Stop the gap growing on Man City, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool. Arsenal, don't worry about them. They'll destroy themselves. But Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool and City, that gap at the moment, if we lost tomorrow, would become 9 points and 7 points to City. We've got to keep that gap no bigger than 6 points. That's what United need to do. And then, hopefully over the weeks that we're doing that, we become better as a football club. Thoughts on Rashford? Mark, he's been poor, Manchester United. What a great question that is. What I would say about Marcus Rashford is what I tweeted last night. Marcus Rashford has not developed anywhere near as much as he should have done over the last 2 years. When Marcus Rashford burst on the scene under Van Gaal, he was fantastic. He went to the Euros, he only had a cameo, but he looked fantastic. Mourinho will always say, nobody's played more appearances under me than Marcus Rashford. Most of those appearances have been on the wing or from the bench. Marcus Rashford has not developed over the last 2 years. Now, that's a controversial thing with some fans. Some fans would agree with me. We know Martial hasn't developed under Mourinho. We know a lot of players haven't developed under Mourinho. But Marcus Rashford was a teenager when Mourinho came in. He's now still very young, but he's not developing anywhere near at the level he should be. And that's to do with a lot of things that are beyond his control and beyond Mourinho's control. Mourinho plays with one up front. So, and that's always going to be Lukaku. And it was Zlatan before him. But no, I do not think that Rashford is developing. I don't. And that is sad. It doesn't mean he can't, but he isn't. It's so on the cards that Liverpool will win their first Premier League title when Mourinho is here. It's karma for pissing all over the Busby Babes. That's from Bio20. Look, whatever you think about Mourinho, I think if you're a manager when Manchester United win the league, you're gone. And I know people will say, well, Liverpool won the league when Sir Alex Ferguson was here. But Sir Alex Ferguson was building a club that had eroded so badly over a number of decades. Mourinho is building a club that was 3 years ago winning a title and has far more... it's a different world. It's a different world. So I think that, yeah... I don't think Mourinho could survive if Liverpool won the title. I don't think he'd be here next year. Who would you sign in the winter transfer window to solve the defensive problem, says Bamba. I don't agree with that, and I've said it before, so I'm just going to say very quickly. Of course a defender would help out, and if Mourinho wants a defender, that's fine. But we shouldn't be defending like we are, and we shouldn't be pretending that Mourinho hasn't got the players he needs to make us strong defensively. He's been here 2 years. He's bought 2 centre-backs. He's consistently played Phil Jones. The reason we're conceding goals and making defensive errors are because of Jose Mourinho, nobody else. So I don't sympathise with him saying he's not been backed. A centre-back would have been nice in the summer, but he's been here 2 years and he's bought centre-backs and he's destroyed centre-backs. So Jose Mourinho is responsible for our defensive problems. I'm sorry, and I'm somebody who really does support Mourinho, but I don't like this, oh, it's not Jose's fault, he's got a crap defence. It clearly is. If we're going to sign a centre-back in January, you're not going to get Alderweireld because he's not going to leave Spurs in January because they're going to have a chance of a title or Champions League. Harry Maguire is a possibility. He is a possibility, but there we go. Please do drop a like on the video. We're trying to get to 500 likes whilst we're live. I wonder, will Andreas Pereira be in the team? Pardon my spelling, says NG Sengtai. I can't see how Pereira comes into the squad. He was totally dropped last week. Mourinho prefers McTominay, and McTominay will take Pereira's place on the bench, I would have thought. I totally disagree with it. Stephen Truss says, do these people who say he hasn't been backed have a short memory? We have the second best defence for 2 years in a row. That should sit them down. Well, I didn't say that myself, Stephen. You're very, very accurate with that. We did have the second best defence for 2 years. Why has it suddenly gone wrong? I can't believe the points gap is so big 4 games into the season. We'd be saying this stuff in January, February time, says Zed Jamie. Yeah, 6 points is a big gap after 4 games. It is, and that's the best we can hope for tomorrow. It could be 8. It could be 9. A draw's a disaster tomorrow. Got to win. We've got to win. Play Sanchez as number 9, Lukaku on the right. He played there for Belgium and did well, says Arita. Stitch up for Maguire if he joins Man United with Jose, says Cam Zab. Maguire's crap, says Jockey. And I did play FIFA earlier, DC. If anyone was asking, it's on my channel. Goldbridge live stream. Did it about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Jacob, got no idea how Forest got on today. If someone wants to put it in the live comments, that's great. Don't know who they played. Don't know what the result was. Because I don't support Forest. How can you say United rather City win over Liverpool? Should be a shame, mate. What? How can you say you'd rather City win over Liverpool? Should be a shame, mate. That's from Aaron Swan. I'll leave that to the comments because I guarantee 90% of the live comments are going to be with me that I don't even need to reply to that. Liverpool's our biggest rival. I think unless you live in Manchester, which makes up probably less than 5% of our support, let's be honest, because we've got billions of fans. I'd say Manchester fans, quite rightly, maybe they would say I'd rather Liverpool than Man City, but I think even a lot of them would say they'd rather Man City over Liverpool. Liverpool are our biggest rival. Of course I'd rather City win it over them. I think we lost the stream for a little bit there. Nazza says that Brentford beat Forest 2-1. Oh no. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I didn't even know who they were playing. I didn't even know what the score was. Oh no. Like, why? I'm on board with that. If we keep playing like how we did against Tottenham in the first half, do you think Mourinho should be given another chance in the transfer market and by the fans? Says Phantom. What a great question that is. So if Manchester United play like they did in the first half against Spurs for the rest of the season, that's his job. So let's see what happens with it. Anyway, I think I'm getting a few problems here with buffering, which is a pain in the arse. Sorry everybody about that. You keep losing me, so we've got a problem with the feed. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. Tomorrow afternoon, watch along for Burnley. Fan cams afterwards as well. Massive day for Manchester United tomorrow. Massive day for Manchester United tomorrow. We must come out of it with 3 points. We'll have the call-in after the game. We've got the Skype show for the call-in. We'll have match reactions, fan cams, and we will be live with you from the team news from 3 o'clock all the way through to full time. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. Sorry for the lag. Sorry for the buffering. It very rarely happens, but for some reason it is tonight. And I shall speak to you all tomorrow. Big game for United. Drop a like on the way out. Have a good Saturday evening. I'm off to watch The Dark Knight. Batman. I'm Batman.